You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, first day of April 2026, also known as April Fool's Day. So be careful out there. Thanks for joining us, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room, so you got to be a member or taking your 1-week free trial to get into that one. When Michael joins us at the top of the hour, he'll show you how to take the free trial. You can go ahead and sign up today. Friday is a holiday, Good Friday, and when you take the 5-day free trial, holidays and weekends do not count against your 5 days. So there's no need to put it off. You can go ahead, sign up today. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, and then we'll just let it run all the way through next week. Fair enough? Fair enough. Now, the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We take a 30-minute break, and then we come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In that email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, just click the link in the email and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way is you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. You see it all, the good, the bad, even the ugly. We don't sweep anything under the carpet. Everything we do is live right in front of you. It's a matter of public record. From the live training and the live trading to the alerts, which come out well ahead of them triggering. So I think that's just the right way to do things, don't you think? All right, on the left side of the screen, you see the schedule for each afternoon broadcast. As I mentioned, Michael will join us at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern. He'll give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room, and then he'll do about 15 minutes of live trading as time and the markets permit. But we're going to start where we do every day with our daily devotional. And the topic that we're on right now, we've been on it, this is day 24. We still got a ways to go. And that topic is, where are you, God? Our scripture today, Acts 16, verses 29 through 34. And I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. The jailer called for lights, rushed in, and fell trembling before Paul and Silas. He then brought them out and asked, "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" They replied, "Believe in the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household." Then they spoke the word of the Lord to him and to all the others in his house. At that hour of the night, the jailer took them and washed their wounds. Then immediately he and all of his household were baptized. The jailer brought them into his house and set a meal before them. He was filled with joy because he had come to believe in God, he and his whole household. Again, that's Acts 16, verses 29 through 34. Sometimes God's greatest breakthroughs happen in the darkest places. For one Roman prison guard in Philippi, salvation came at midnight in the most unlikely circumstances imaginable. Paul and his companion Silas had been stripped, severely beaten, and thrown into the inner prison with their feet fastened in stocks for sharing God's love. That was their crime, sharing God's love. The jailer had explicit orders to guard them carefully. This was just another night shift for a hardened Roman soldier until an earthquake changed everything. Instead of complaining about their painful situation, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. The other prisoners were listening to these strange men who found reasons to praise in the midst of suffering. Their worship was about to become the catalyst for an extraordinary breakthrough. Suddenly, there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains came loose. Acts 16:26. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was a supernatural intervention, perfectly timed for maximum impact. When the jailer woke up and saw the prison doors open, he drew his sword to kill himself. Roman law demanded that guards pay with their lives if prisoners escaped, so he assumed the worst. But Paul shouted, "Don't harm yourself. We're all here." Despite having every opportunity to escape, not one prisoner had fled. The jailer's life was spared by the very men he had been ordered to guard. Trembling with fear, the jailer fell down before Paul and Silas and asked the most important question of his life. "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" Acts 16:30. Their answer was beautifully simple. Believe in the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household. Acts 16:31. That very hour, the jailer washed their wounds, was baptized with his entire family, and brought them into his home for a meal. The man who had locked them up was now serving them dinner, filled with joy, because he had come to believe in the true God. The gospel had penetrated Rome's prison system through the witness of two beaten missionaries. Their suffering became the pathway for an entire household's salvation. So, what prison circumstances are you facing today? I'm not talking about bars. Think about what I said. What prison circumstances are you facing today? I'm not asking what jail are you locked up in. God can use your darkest moments to reach people who might never encounter him otherwise. Your faithfulness in difficulty could become someone else's breakthrough. Almost 2,000 years have passed since Paul and Silas led the jailer and his family to faith. And yet the gospel has still to reach every tribe and nation. Over the next few days, we will share some modern day first encounters with God. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as you brought salvation and joy to the jailer and his household, remind us that your grace reaches us right where we are. Our prayer, Lord, is that you would turn our fear into faith and fill our hearts with the joy of believing in you. May our lives lead others to your saving truth. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Wednesday, or happy April Fool's Day, however you want to do it. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Then we'll go to the news, and then we'll go to the charts and the alerts. Starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. I got a real surprise for you when we get to the daily chart of the S&P. Now, keep in mind, when we go to the charts, you're going to be looking at the futures. The numbers I'm giving you right now are the cash markets. If you don't understand the difference, just Google it or ask ChatGPT. Currently, in the cash markets, the Dow is up 437 points, almost 1%. The NASDAQ's up 352 points, over 1.5%. S&P 500 is up 72, well over 1%. And the Russell 2000 is up 43 points. That's 1.75%. In the commodity basket, crude oil is down. Yeah, I said down, $1.56. Trading 99.82 last. That's a drop of over 1.5%. Gold is up $138.30, trading 47.85.90 last. That's a gain of almost 3%. Silver up 96 cents, trading 75.85 last. That's a gain of 1.25%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 2,675 points. That's 5.25%. Shanghai rose 56, 1.5%. The Hang Seng gained 505 points. That's over 2%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 188, almost 2%. The DAX up 618, 2.75%, and the CAC up 164 points, just over 2%. So that gave us a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And it's a big green Radio Wednesday here at the moment in the US of A. Let's take a peek at the news. Fly me to the moon. I've been practicing that all morning. NASA is set to launch Artemis 2 tonight at 6:24 p.m. Eastern, sending 4 astronauts on a roughly 10-day journey around the moon. The mission marks the first crewed flight beyond Earth's orbit since 1972. Wow. Riding atop the Space Launch System, the world's most powerful operational rocket, Orion's capsule integrity will reach speeds near 5 miles per second as it heads for lunar orbit, the first piloted flight of the deep space capsule. Artemis 2 will travel about 250,000 miles away, the farthest distance humanity has ever ventured into space. Next year, NASA aims to have astronauts link up with SpaceX and Blue Origin moonlanders in low Earth orbit to test systems for lunar surface missions. A landing near the South Pole is expected by 2028, amid a growing race with China's lunar program. The name Artemis honors the Greek moon goddess, twin sister of Apollo, connecting the current program to the original moon missions. And again, that's going to launch tonight at 6:24 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure all the news channels will cover that. The Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether the federal government can deny citizenship to children born in the U.S. to parents in the country illegally or temporarily. The case stems from an executive order signed last year to narrow birthright citizenship, which currently recognizes nearly all children born on U.S. soil as automatic citizens. The principle was established after the Civil War to ensure that formerly enslaved people were recognized as citizens. In 1898, the Supreme Court affirmed that it also applied to children of immigrants, ruling in favor of a man born in San Francisco to Chinese parents. Ending the policy would impact around 255,000 children born in the U.S. annually. The U.S. is one of about 36 countries with unrestricted birthright citizenship. Most nations grant citizenship based on the parent's status. Separately, the Supreme Court yesterday ruled 8-1 on First Amendment grounds that states cannot ban conversion therapy for LGBTQ plus children. And something is also happening today in the Supreme Court that has never happened before, ever. President Trump, I assume he's probably there right now. I haven't had the news on. This issue, this birthright citizenship issue, is so important to the president. He's actually going to sit in the pews at the Supreme Court, whatever you call them. The chairs, the benches, I don't know. And he's going to be eyeballing the justices that he appointed and the other conservatives. Now, my concern is, how are they going to take this? Are they going to be pleased that he chose to show up for this important oral argument? Or are they going to feel like he's trying to micromanage them or maybe even bully them into ruling in his favor? Well, I don't know, and that all remains to be seen. But we'll probably have some idea of how they reacted later today. And happy birthday, Apple. Apple turns 50 years old today, a milestone for one of the world's most valuable companies. With a market capitalization of 3.7 trillion as of this writing, CEO Tim Cook rang the Nasdaq bell yesterday to mark the moment. Founder Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne launched Apple out of Jobs' garage on April 1st, 1976. Their goal was to make computers accessible not just for businesses, but for everyday consumers. The Apple II became one of the most successful personal computers of the time, selling nearly 6 million units, and was followed by the Macintosh in 1984. After a years-long departure from Apple, Jobs returned to the company in the late 1990s, overseeing the launch of the iMac, the iPod, and the iPhone, alongside designer Johnny Ive. Nearly 1/5 of the world's population has an iPhone today. And if you've never read or listened to Steve Jobs' autobiography, he knew he was dying of pancreatic cancer, and he knew many stories would be told about his life. So he wanted to set the record straight. I have the audiobook. It takes like 24 hours to listen to the entire book. The guy who did the writing, Iverson, and I'm not sure if he's the one that narrates the audiobook, but if you have an Audible account and you've never heard of it, because I mean, Steve Jobs, he pulls no punches on himself. He talks about what a mean and cruel person he was throughout his life, and you know what? He doesn't apologize for it. He just wanted to set the record straight. So, if you have, even if you don't have an Audible account, you can get a free copy if you don't already have an Audible account. Go to audibletrial.com/CFRN. Now, that's going to give you like a 2-week free trial. You'll be able to download the book, and then 5 minutes later, you can go back in and cancel your free trial. But the book is yours to keep forever. Now, I'm not trying to encourage you to game the system, but those are the rules set forth by Audible. They want to give you a taste of what it's like to be a member of the Audible Book Club experience. So they're willing to give you a free book just for you to take a look, in hopes that you'll stick around and become a paying customer, which I think is currently about $15 a month, and that gives you 1 book credit per month. So if you like audiobooks, it's a pretty good deal. All right, let's turn to the Wall Street news. I better pick up the pace here. Okay, now this is big. I've been talking about this. I talked about it yesterday. SpaceX officially kicked off its IPO process, which could result in the biggest public offering ever. Now, I was setting up an account for my wife, and her bank, they screwed it up. There are funds that will give you access to pre-IPO shares in SpaceX, which includes Starlink and XAI. Kathy Woods has a fund, ARCVX, I think they own about 18% of the SpaceX shares. And then XOVR, that one is priced right at 16 bucks. Last time I looked, I'm sure it's up now. Another fund is AGIX, 31 bucks a share. And then they say the best direct exposure pre-IPO is to buy shares in EchoStar, which trades under the symbol SATS. But those shares are going to cost you 112 bucks. Now, a lot of the SpaceX employees have received stock options or shares as part of their pay package or sign-on bonus. They are currently, some of them, selling some of their shares on a secondary market. All you got to do is Google SpaceX secondary market pre-IPO. In other words, some of these employees that don't want to wait to get to cash in when the IPO happens. See, they just filed today, so it's going to be a while now before the actual IPO happens. But some of the employees, they need the money now for whatever reason. And so they can legally sell you their shares on these secondary platforms. Now, keep in mind, if you buy shares this way prior to the IPO, anything could happen. I mean, some regulatory thing could come up that prevents the IPO from happening, or the market, like let's say you bought some pre-IPO shares today on one of those secondary platforms, but then next week you realize you need that money back. Liquidity is an issue. I'm not saying that you couldn't sell them, but you might have some difficulty. So anyway, this is big. You just heard me read that NASA is going to join up with SpaceX and Blue Origin next year for their next launch. This could be big, guys. So I brought it up so many times because I don't want you to miss it. If you have an interest, I am not recommending that you buy or sell any security. Okay, talk to a licensed investment professional. That would be your broker, or you could talk to our broker, Bert. Bert's number is 866-928-3310. Now, he's primarily a futures guy, but he is licensed to talk to you about stocks, mutual funds, etc. And as long as, even if he's not your broker, just tell him that you're affiliated, associated with CFRN, or just a member of our audience, and he'll be happy to talk to you. All right. So why are the markets up so much today? Well, President Trump said the U.S. would only consider agreeing to a ceasefire with Iran if the Strait of Hormuz is reopened, offering his latest signal about an exit plan from the war. Trump posted on social media today that Iran's new regime president has just asked the United States for a ceasefire. It's not clear to whom Trump was referring or how any message was communicated. There's been no public indication that Tehran has offered to unconditionally cease hostilities. The president posted, "We will consider when Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we will continue blasting Iran into oblivion, or as they say, back to the Stone Age." And U.S. stocks gained as a result today, following a powerful rally across Wall Street to wrap up the first quarter. Remember, yesterday was the end of the month, end of the quarter. Today is the first of the month, beginning of the second quarter. Those 2 days are typically when fund managers rebalance their portfolios. The market shifting moves were fueled by reports suggesting a potential diplomatic off-ramp to the Iran conflict. According to comments made to state media, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian is open to de-escalation under certain conditions, stating Iran has the necessary will to end the war. That'd be great. Speaking of President Trump, he will deliver a speech tonight at 9 p.m. It'll be on all the networks and cable at 9 p.m. Eastern. He's going to talk to the American people, basically just giving an update about the war. The plans for a primetime address come after the U.S. president said that he foresaw the U.S. ending the war in Iran in the coming weeks. Trump said on Tuesday the U.S. has largely accomplished its military goals and would leave it to other nations to reopen the strait. I don't know about that. Trump said, I would say that within 2 weeks, maybe 3, we'll leave because there's no reason for us to do this. See, we only get like 1% of our oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We have plenty of oil, which begs the question, then why are gas prices so high? Well, I can't give you a good answer for that. This is big. President Trump is floating an exit from NATO, calling the transatlantic alliance a paper tiger, as European powers refuse to enter the conflict with Iran. Now, see, they get most of their oil through that strait, but we're the ones in there spending the money, doing the fighting. Unbelievable. Asked by The Telegraph in an interview published today if he is reconsidering America's NATO membership, Trump replied, "Oh yes, I would say it's beyond reconsideration. I was never swayed by NATO. If you look back many years ago, even before he became president, President Trump said NATO was no bueno for the American people." And our last little bit of news. President Trump is expected to sign an executive order cracking down on mail-in voting across the country. The executive order will require the Secretary of Homeland Security to create a list of verified U.S. citizens who are eligible to vote in each state with the Social Security Administration's help, according to a fact sheet shared with the Daily Caller. The presidential action will also require that the U.S. Postal Service only send absentee ballots to those on each state's approved mail-in ballot list. Ballots will now have specific secure envelopes with unique barcodes for tracking. And heads on the left are just exploding left and right. They're going to have to, some of those judges are going to have to get their robes dry cleaned because their head exploded. Yeah. Now, you know, son, one of those judges is going to fight it. And, you know, I think before the Supreme Court does anything else, they should fix this problem we have with the president issuing an order and some backwater judge that nobody ever heard of and nobody ever voted for striking it down. That's the biggest miscarriage of justice I think I've ever seen. So, okay, I can't do anything about that, but I can do something about this. Logic 247. It's our 24/7 around-the-clock Emini alert service. It's not just E-minis though, but it's also gold, crude, and silver. We're currently in week 400, which is 7.69 years. Over the last 7.69 years, we've issued over 21,800 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less being stopped out, based simply on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. This week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 42 alerts, one never triggered, Still waiting on the outcome of 10. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, so some of these 10 have probably resolved themselves. So she'll update the recap this afternoon, early evening, as she does each and every day. So with 42 issued, 1 never triggered, and 10 waiting, that gives us 31 actionable alerts, and it's just midday Wednesday. And we've had 2 stop outs, 6%. Every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and in most cases, additional targets, and then a final trade to target. The purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Even if you never actually trade a logic alert, you can still use them for the purpose intended, and that is to learn to properly read the chart, to understand how price action flows, where resistance is most likely to show up, where support is most likely to show up. And once you get that part down, then you reveal the windows of opportunity that lie between those important points, and that's where you find your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. So a logic alert could come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. 400 weeks is a long time. As I said, 7.69 years. But many years before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now they're different in a lot of different ways. They don't have entry prices. They're simply targets. However, they don't come out around the clock. They're posted as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. So the Wednesday session that we're in right now began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Well, 5 minutes before the market opened last night, all of our traders had all of these targets: S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now we'll go through each one of these markets individually in granular fashion. You're going to see these CTA targets drawn out on the chart. Just keep in mind, our traders had that information 5 minutes before the market opened. So now we can go to the daily chart, and I can show you that little surprise I teased. We start with the daily. We're at the 38% fib retracement, and right overhead is the daily BBC. We've not touched the BBC since March 5th. Now you might say, well, what's a BBC? All right, price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. It just stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Higher prices, lower prices. Now, this whole transition thing that I've been talking about for months came to pass. Price, I don't care what you trade or how you trade it, price always reverts to the mean. You might say, well, I don't even understand what that means. Just accept it, okay, because it's a fact. It's not an opinion, okay? It's kind of like gravity. It just is. Notice that when price pulls back to the BBC or reverts to the mean, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But eventually it will trade through, as it did here. But on the pullback held. Now you might say right here, well, that didn't hold. Yeah, it did. As long as the candle is physically touching the line, That's a hold. Okay. Even right here. See, for 2 days, 1, 2, 3 days, we were touching the candle. So that in our lingo, that means the pullback held until it didn't. And then we got a leg and a retracement, the pullback held, and a leg and a retracement, the pullback held, and then it didn't. Okay, you get the idea? So the last time we physically touched the BBC is March 5th. We just might touch it today. If not today, maybe tomorrow. If we don't touch it today, we don't know how the markets are going to react to what the president says tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now, if you're a stock trader, you can't do anything about it until 9:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. But if you're a futures trader, you can take action overnight. That's what we love about futures. They trade around the clock. So, these are reverse fibs. Typically, you think of fibs in an uptrend where you draw from the low to the high. But because we're now in a downtrend, we've drawn from the high to the low. It works the same in either direction. You'll notice that we found support here, 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 and now we've got resistance at the 38. Okay. The 38 is at 66.37, give or take a point or two. And the daily BBC is at 66.66, 6666. Some of you will remember when the market crashed back in the 2008 market financial crisis, they called it, whatever. The S&P hit a low of 666. If you didn't know that, go check it out. It's a true story. Okay. But now look at the numbers we're trading at. Less than 20 years later, even after this massive sell-off, 6,353 was this low. But the sell-off in 2008 took us down to 666. But the indices always go higher over time. That's how they're created, why they're created. You see, the professionals are constantly reshuffling the deck. Weak companies get taken out, strong companies get put in. So even after a big sell-off, ultimately price is always going to go higher. Now, all the alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just a time frame I chose years ago. And they say if it's not broke, leave it alone. So I did. The vertical lines separate today, Wednesday. This is Tuesday. This is Monday. So let's just look at what's important. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Okay. Now the horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. Now I just put one of the lines. This zone is actually 6510/11. This is 28/29. This is 48/49. We've published the zones every Monday for our members for over 16 years. Here's the idea behind the zones. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Okay. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time, it's consolidation. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through, and then continue in the direction of the slice. So these targets you see, remember, our members had them 5 minutes before the market opened last night. Here's where we opened. Now, when blue and climbing gets directly above price, that can become, blue and climbing obviously is bullish, red and falling is bearish. But when blue and climbing gets directly above price, it can often become resistance because it's on its way to becoming red and falling. Okay? So on this pullback, buyers were pumped, the institutional traders. So we hit the long target. I mean, off the open in the first 30 minutes, because you're above the BBC, you're only thinking long. When you're below the 30-minute BBC, you're only thinking short. Okay? So if you just bought the open last night, we opened at 62 and ran up to 77. That's 15 points in that one candle. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. So we finally hit the long target about 1 a.m. Eastern. And then we got a leg and a retracement. Notice how the top side of the long target becomes support. Initially resistance, then on the pullback becomes support. And look right there, the pullback held. Price always reverts to the mean, and the pullback holds more often than not. That's a beautiful thing. Now this zone is 28/29, so we sliced through, but the low of this candle, 31. Okay, so we missed, pull it back to the zone by like 2 points. Okay, we can live with that. Price is always trying to get to a zone. If you're above the BBC, the green line, price is trying to get to the zone overhead. When price is below the BBC, price is trying to get to the zone below. As you can see, it doesn't always make it, but at least you know what the market's trying to do. That's part of learning how to read the chart. Now we still have one more zone overhead. It's way up there at 6870/71. So, I mean, we still got 2 more days. If the markets react positively to what President Trump says tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, we also had some very positive economic reports come out today. So could we see that by Friday? Maybe. Keep in mind, that's the highest zone. But when we publish the zones Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, they're carved in stone for the entire week. We're not saying that price is going to go to the lowest zone or go to the highest zone. What the zones do is they kind of create a playing field, if you will. So you know where to. Now, this zone was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Well, here we are on Wednesday. It's still doing its job. Resistance, resistance, resistance. And then we finally break through. Now, on the pullback, we would expect it to be support until proven otherwise. It's really pretty simple. Once you learn it, you go, man, why did it take me so long to figure that out or get a handle on it? Well, because it's probably different. We look at and think about the markets differently than most folks. So anyway, here's the Dow. Here's where we opened last night. Blue and climbing got directly above price, became red and falling, but price overcame it. And at 2 a.m. Eastern, we not only hit the long target, but we ran right up to the zone, which we expect to be resistance until proven otherwise. So look how on the retracement, the top side of the long target became support, which sent us back up to the zone, resistance, which sent us back down to the top of the long target and the BBC. See, the pullback held, and the pullback held, and the pullback held, and the pullback held. I'm telling you, it holds more often than it doesn't. On your 5-minute, your 30-minute, your daily, your weekly, your monthly. The larger the time frame, the more reliable it is that it's going to hold that pullback. Price always reverts to the mean. There's no escaping that fact, just like you can't escape gravity unless you leave Earth's orbit. The Russell, here's where we opened last night, and we hit the long target by 8:30. Resistance sent us back looking for support. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. And the support came in at a spot I personally would not have called for support. And I don't have any problem with that. After 7.6 years, 6-9 years, and over 21,800 Logic 247 alerts, I've accepted the fact that 20% of the time or less, we're going to get stopped out because the market does something unexpected, okay? So would I have expected buyers to come in here? Yeah. Maybe here? Yeah. But they came in a little early. And they sent us back up to the long target again. Then we got a leg and a retracement, pull back held. A leg and a retracement, pull back held. And now currently we're sitting at resistance at the zone 2555/56, and there's still one more zone overhead. The NQ. Here's where we opened last night. Let me open this up a little bit. Okay, here's where we opened last night. We ran into blue and climbing, okay, resistance. That set us back a little bit. Buyers came in, took us right up to the long target, 2 a.m. Eastern. We got above the target, and then we pulled back to the VBC. And as you can see, the pullback held, the pullback held, and now we're above the zone 24205/206. We still got one more zone left overhead. So that covers all the indices. Here's crude. Now, well, 2 weeks ago, I said in 2 weeks, I believe we'll see crude in the 70s. Well, we're not exactly there yet. So there's 2 days that it could happen. I mean, based on what the president says tonight, crude could plummet or not. You see, contrary to popular belief, nobody knows what's going to happen next in the markets. Nobody. No indicator, no oscillator, no guru, not nothing, not no way, not no how. It's too many. There's too many factors. Now, once you learn to read the charts, you can get pretty good at knowing what the market is most likely to do next. But knowing what's most likely to happen and what's actually going to happen, well, that's as different as night and day. Yet people lie to you, website after website, email after email. If you're chasing that 100% never get stopped out again, right, just either stop or throw in the towel and donate your money to a worthy charity, okay? Because you're looking for a black cat in the dark that doesn't even exist. So crude open, we hit the BBC. Now, see, we had a leg down and a retracement, pullback hill. Then we overcame, but right here we had a bearish cross yesterday. That's when the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move. When that happens, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. Looks like good resistance to me, because price dropped all the way down to here. Now, if you look left, that is a reasonable place for price to find support. So we had a leg and a retracement to pull back hill. And then we had a leg and the zone held support, which sent us to the BBC resistance, which sent us back to the zone support. Right there, see? Now, this is the zone published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And that set us back to resistance at the BBC. Now it looks like we're trying to overcome the BBC. If we close above the BBC, you got potential resistance here, here. This is a major area right here. If you trade crude, write this down, 101 and a quarter. See, this candle's got a wick sticking down, and this one's got a tiny wick sticking up. You put your crosshair right between the two. That's an important price, important area. Okay. Then up here where the black step line crossed the BBC, another important price, important area, 102.50. And then right here where blue turned to red, $103. Those are all important areas where the market may potentially find resistance if, and this is a big if it can take out this high and this high. See, you've got a high and a lower high, and that's bearish. All right. And obviously you can see the little triangle we got going on here. I would draw the lines if we had time. We don't really have the time. Gold. Here's where gold opened last night. And by the time we got to the, what was it, 8 o'clock, we hit the long target. Now, just to give you an example, like this candle right here opened at 47.24 and ran up $2,500 per contract traded in that one 30-minute candle. But we found resistance, and if you scroll left, you'll see where the resistance came from. Okay, resistance sends us to support, pull back hill, leg retracement, pull back hill. Now we got a big leg, so at some point we're going to get a retracement because price always reverts to the mean. Here, 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 here. Last but not least, silver. Man, we still haven't hit the long target. So gold is outperforming silver today. Here's where we opened last night, and then we dropped. We didn't quite make it to the zone, but buying came in nonetheless. Okay, right here. You see the wick sticking up and the wick sticking down? Put your crosshair right between the two. And we spiked that low by just a little bit. But support sends the market looking for resistance. Not a spot I would have called for resistance, but got to trade what's in front of you. Then a retracement, pull back held. Then a leg and the pull back held, pull back held, pull back held. And now, okay, what was the high of this candle? 75.95. What's the high of this candle? Oh, we got a new candle that just opened. That means it's time for Michael. Oh, guys, I just noticed that YouTube had stopped streaming, so I apologize. Let me refresh this over here. All right. I need to get one of you guys on YouTube to text me when the YouTube feed stalls out, because I don't automatically recognize it as soon as it happens. But anyway, it's streaming again now. So we're inching closer. I mean, we're trying to print a green candle, so we should hit that long target pretty quick. And here's the daily. We've inched above that 38% reverse fib. Remember, these are reverse fibs. And a downtrend, you draw from the high. That's the all-time historic high in the S&P 500 E-mini futures. and that's the most recent significant low. And right now we're trying to overcome the 38% fib retracement, and then this, remember, the pullback holds more often than not. And we haven't touched the BBC since when? March 5th. Okay, so now where's Michael? Michael, are you there? Are you struggling? Are you having a hard time getting logged in? What's going on, buddy? Talk to me. All right. To become a member, email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. She'll send you all the information, explaining everything you get, how to actually sign up. If you have questions, you can call her at 949-42-EMINI. If she doesn't pick up, leave a voicemail. She'll call you back. You get 2 hours of live training every trading day. It's an interactive environment. You're asking questions, you're trading along with Michael. 2 hours every trading day. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. Well, we plug that hole. Plus, you get private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy that we use, you'll learn that. You'll have full access to the indicators. You'll get the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones. You'll be able to attend the members-only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. And I hear Michael tippy-tapping in the background.
I am here.
We're about to send out the I don't know.
color.
What do you send out? You send out the hounds.
Squad.
You don't send out the hounds. Okay, whatever.
I don't know, but I'm here.
But we're glad. We're so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm happy to be here.
So I'm ready for you to do your thing,
Okay.
and I'll see you in
There we go.
about. Well, hang on. Let me get you centered up here. Okay. And okay. All right. I'll see you in about 25 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Here we go. Let me move this out of the way. All right. Good afternoon. It sure is. April 1st. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, as Dwayne just said, the first day of April. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right there. There's no credit card required for this trial. Click on that purple button and you just go. Yes, click on the purple button and you will be sent to this registration page. Correct? Yes, this one. And on this page, all it asks for is your first name, your last name, and your email. And down at the bottom, make sure it gives you TradingView login ID down there. TradingView login ID. Once we get that, we'll be able to enable the indicators, get them indicating on your desktop so you have them during the trial. All right. New month today. So the first day of the month. So the average is only 715 because that's what we got this morning. It was a slow morning, really was. Halfway through, we're only up like $100, $125 or something like that. So I'm glad we picked it up in the second half of the morning session, but it was just slow, it seemed like. Anyway, if you are going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We're 70 ticks on the NQ, 11 ticks on the Russell, 72 ticks on the YM, and -4 on the ES. We never got to positive on the ES this morning. To put us at 715 total. And this was another day where I think we had more ES trades than we did NQ trades. It is 3 days in a row now. More ES trades than NQ trades. That's odd. What about yesterday? We were negative yesterday. We were positive the day before that. Positive the day before that. A couple of negative days in there. Just looking at ES. Anyway, today took 8 minutes and 5 trades. Gets the goal for the day at that point. We're up $157.50 with one contract. It was kind of an odd spread. We had 5 on the YM, we had 5 on the Russell, and 19 on the NQ. That's how we ended up with that, I think. Yeah, that's how we ended up with that. Was it? No, we had 1. We had 1 on the S. I guess we did get to positive at one point on the S. We're +1 tank. All right. Anyway, that's how it worked out. It took 5 minutes, and we're at $157.50. Today we took 40 trades, and we had 5 stop outs, putting us at 87.5% of our trades were break even or better. So we were at $715. One day into the month, we're averaging $715 a day. On the year now, we're $67,020 with 54 trading days, averaging $1,241 per day. Okay, now let's go back here and back there, not there, here. On this, we're going to scroll down to here. Okay. And this will be a 783. This will be a 4-1. This will carry down to there. This to there. And this will be 73. And we don't know anything else yet. All right. Let's get into here. We'll go through the trades that we did take. All right. This is the Russell. We'll start out with that one. Down the Russell, we didn't have that many trades today. We'll control them back on that. Control them back on that. No, don't worry about it. Okay. Our first trade on the Russell was right there. We picked up 5 ticks there. Then we had 10 ticks. We went from 5 to 10, from 10 to 21, from 21 to 26. Somewhere near we went to 26, probably right there. And then we stopped out, and that put us down to 1. And then didn't have anything through there. Then we had a pretty big trade right there. We went back up to, oh, actually, we didn't have a big trade there. We went from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 6, and went from 6 to 11. So there was one more 5-tick trade somewhere. And that was where we wrapped it up on the Russell for the morning session. Not a lot happened here during the break, you can see. Between 11:30 right here and now. There was one short trade right there. Actually, that was a long trade there that would have worked out, and a short trade right here that would have worked out to be a break even or better. And that was it on the Russell today. Okay, on the 19 range Russell. Now, the YM, controlling back. The YM was good to us all day today. I don't think we stopped out at all on the YM. And back to the beginning. All right, on the YM, this is our first trade. We picked up 5 ticks there. Then moving along through here, we had another one there. From 5, we went to 10, and 10, we went to 26. And from 26 to 37, then 37 to 57, then 57 to 67, then 67 to 72. At the end of the session here somewhere, there was a 67 to 72. I don't know where it was exactly, but there's 5 ticks missing in here. Since then, we, during the break, had one short trade right there. And that was it. All right, the ES. Now, controlling back on the ES. I'll go all the way back here like this. All right. So on the ES, we started out with a stop out. We had minus 10 ticks there. Then we picked up 11 on that trade, got us to +1. That was the highest we got on the ES. We had a couple of break evens, 3 break evens, 4 or 5 break evens, 5 break evens. And then we got one of those break evens should have been actually 2 of those break evens. 2 of those break even. One of them actually gave me a -1, and another one gave me a -4. So we went from +1 back here, +1 back there, and then we had these 5 trades that should have all been break even, but we had negative slippage on them. We ended up with -4 after all those break evens, and then we had 1 tick here, got us to -3. Then we stopped out again, went to -13. Then we got 8, went to -5. Then we went to something positive there that I didn't write down, and then we stopped out again. We went to -15. And then that didn't actually hit the mid-band there, but I got 4 ticks and brought us to minus 11. Then that was a break even there, but it actually gave me positive slippage. So I got 3 ticks there, put us at minus 8. Break even. Then minus 8, we plus 2 ticks to minus 6, plus 1 tick to minus 4, and plus 1 tick, and plus 1 tick to minus 5, plus 1 tick to minus 4. And that is where we ended it on the S. So that first trade on the S that put us down was pretty much the one that kept us down most of the morning. The NQ now, we did have a stop out on the NQ as well. Oops, sorry, I said, but we're in a better position to take that stop out this morning. So our first trade right here, let me get the question box out in case I accidentally shut my mic off again like I just did. You guys can let me know. The first one right here on the NQ was a plus 19. Then we had a plus 29. Oh, I'm sorry, plus 10 to get us to 29. Then I have this as an orange right here because I did something wrong on that. I don't remember what it was, but I ended up stopping out. I don't remember why I ended up stopping out. It looks like a normal stop out, but it is orange for some reason. No, we did stop out nevertheless. So that was on the NQ. Went from, oh, I know why it's showing is, it's because it should have been a bigger stop out, but it wasn't the whole stop out. It only, for some reason, it only gave me a 6 tick stop. I went from 29 to 23. Right, then I went from 23 to 31. And then on this one, from 31 to minus 5. That should not have been a stop at all on that one. I had messed that one up. I shouldn't have taken the trade, and I tried to do a shave on it, and I ended up stopping out completely on that one. And so that brought us down to minus 5. Then from minus 5 here, we went to plus 9. And then from plus 9, we went to, where are we? 9, we went to 19, then 29, then 40. 9 to 19 to 29 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70. Somewhere we had a one more 10 tick trade. So these all were running and coming back and hitting me with the plus 10 ticks. Every one of those hit me with plus 10 ticks. And that was it on the NQ for us this morning. So it wasn't a really easy trading this morning. You know, we had stop outs on every market except the YM. But the ES had 3 out of 5 stop outs around the ES this morning. So it wasn't easy. All right. That brings us to this point where we have right now 15 and a half minutes left. So go in here and we'll put a 15 here. Okay. And now we'll just take whatever trades we can. Yesterday was pretty dry. I don't remember how many trades we got yesterday, but it seemed like we waited for a while to get anything. Maybe it was the day before we didn't get any trades, right? This day, right here, we didn't get any trades on the 27th. No, yesterday we actually got some trades. We traded the NQ, the Russell, and the ES yesterday. So far today, though, we've got nothing. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Anybody? No. Okay. All right then. Nothing. We're pretty close on the YM. We just need a down close on this bar, followed by an up close on the next one. The NQ's a long way away. The ES is a long way away, and I guess the Russell's as close as the YM. Pretty close, almost as close as Y. Almost as close. And Jimmy's not in here either. He's not. All right. So if we go back here and look at this, we are averaging $132. $132 in our 16-minute average time frame to trade in this session. Over 72 so far. We're up $96,525 trading in this session, or $9,652 trading in this session. If you only have time to come to this session, we usually do okay in this session too. You know, if you can't get in there in the morning, get in there now. It's a little slower, as you can see, though. We now have 11 and a half minutes left. 11 and a half minutes left. And hopefully we'll have at least one trade here. We could go to a smaller time frame. Let's try that. To a 9 range. What's that look like? Nothing there on the 9. Hey, this is pretty close on the 9. Now let me just change my down to make that a 9 range. Nope, it's the wrong 9 range. Should probably have different ones. There it is. That's what I'll use. I would want to bump the stop on it. It's we're on a 9 range here on the Russell right now. Need to hit the mid band and bounce up, and have 9 range bracket on my down. Okay, and even that didn't work. It didn't hit the mid band. Okay, so I may have to go back to the 19 range. Nothing there either. It's closer than the 9 ranges right now. The 9 range has to go up 2 and down 2. I'm just going to go up 1, then down 2, and then up 1. So you're 3 bars away on that one. It's this one here, you were just 2 bars away. We didn't get the down close here on the YM. So let's see on this guy. 19 range. Oh, look how choppy that is on the 19 range in there. Back to the 30 there. Try the ES on the 4 range. I'm used to trade everything on the 4 range. You know when we stopped that, really? First, when I came to TradingView, this is one part of it, but also when Russia went into Ukraine is when we stopped that for the most part. We switched because the markets just got wild. Nothing. We're on a 4 range on the ES right now. That's an 8 by 30 bracket. Okay. Going down to the oversold. We're at the mid-band. Just need an up close. And there it is. I just realized we're right at the high of the day on the yes. High of the day is right here. 53.75 is the high of the day. This wants to actually get up to, this is the trade. It actually wants to get up to right in here, this area right here. See if it does. That's what it wants to get up to. We're in there. I think we've got a pretty good entry. Yeah, we do have a good entry. We'll see if it goes though. Looks like it's rolling down right now. It's got a neat tick stop. It hasn't gone into profit at all yet. And I don't have an automated thing to bump it on this one. I think when it gets up to 52.50, I'm supposed to go to break even after 2 ticks in profit with the 4 range. I remember right. That's how we did it in the past. It's been so long. This bar really needs to close above the mid-band. And what do we have left? 7 minutes left. Okay, once it gets to 52.50, we closed up above the mid-band. That's good. A good development. Once it gets to 52.50, the stop's supposed to go to break even. Now, I don't have an automated thing in here, so I'm going to have to do it manually. It should get up here to 55. So the DOM doesn't know what time frame you're on. So the stuff that you see in the DOM is the stuff that you see in the DOM. Yellow's going to get up one more tick. Break even, like that. Now go to break even. Whoa. Go into break even. All right. Now we're rolling. Now we are moving up appropriately. +1. And we're out with just one little tick right there. No trade over here. 1 tick there. Nothing there. And nothing here. Oops. Wrong one. This one. 1 ES. One, 0. Okay, so 100% of our trades are break even or better this session. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing there and there. We went full cycle all the way up and we've come all the way back down, so it's about to set up another trade here on the ES. And up close on this bar would be a long trade. So 51.75 up to 53 is what you buy on this. That number up at 55 is still in the same place.
So how'd it go?
Slowly, very slowly. I'm on a 4 range ES right now trying to manufacture some trades here.
Oh,
got
my.
1 tick profit on the last one. So
yeah,
it's...
And I was telling everybody earlier, when the president speaks tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, stock traders won't be able to react to that, but futures traders will.
Yes.
One of the beauties of futures, round the clock trading.
It is. It is indeed. And we just filled again right here. The bar closed up. It filled us. Has an 8-tick stop. And it should get up here to 55. I don't know if it's gonna. We have 1 tick in profit with an 8-tick stop right now. And if it stomps us out like that, then it's a ding, -8. So that puts us at -7 overall in this session right now. And we're 1 and 1.
Well, let me shut up so you can focus.
That's okay. I don't think. I don't expect we're gonna have a lot of opportunity here. Things are just. They've gone silent. It's like everybody's gotten on the sidelines.
We're just shy of the daily BBC on the ES. We're at the 38% reverse fib.
All right, I was looking at that earlier. Today we got up there twice. We got up there, hit it, and got rejected by it, and then went back up to it. Right there. Got up there,
See,
got rejected.
on my, oh, you're on the continuous.
Yeah.
Okay, on my chart, we didn't quite hit it.
Put on the ES. Oops. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
There you go.
Why is it not?
ESM.
Oops, I did it again. The ES. There it is. Oh yeah, it didn't hit it on the ESM. Huh.
Yeah, so guys, there's a difference between the continuous chart and the futures chart, and there's a difference between the cash price and the futures price. So
on the continuous, it hit it and it rejected it this morning.
Okay. Well, the pullback holds more often than not, so.
It does. It does indeed.
Especially on the larger time frames.
So we'll see what happens here. Right now, we have a minute left, and it doesn't look like we're going to get another trade that's going to recover those 7 ticks that we just lost.
Well, I'm in no rush, so if you want to go over a few minutes, it's up to you. I don't know what your schedule's like.
I have a busy schedule today. But, wow, this is slow.
Yesterday, you got more in the afternoon session than you did in the whole 2-hour morning session.
I did. That is...
Boy, that is quiet. Wow.
It is.
It's like the market's waiting on something, but man, we don't have any major known event until 9 p.m. Eastern tonight.
If I kept this on the 7 range, we had 1 trade right here. That would have been a break-even trade if I had stayed on the 7 range. Well, I mean, we're out of time anyway, so I'll just leave it on the 7 range. I'll put my down back to the 7 range bracket. Do that before I forget. 7 range, 10 by 30. Let me check and make sure that yep, okay, the stop is good. Undo that. And there we are. All right, so I guess this is how we're going to wrap it up, guys. It's going to be a white day today in here because we didn't get a chance to take any more trades.
Today's Apple's 50th birthday.
Is it really 50 today?
Yep. Wow. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and the other fellow. He's like that one Beatle that quit early. I forget his name, but he sold his stock for, I don't know, something like $800. And it was the first startup launched out of a garage in Silicon Valley.
Crazy.
The autobiography that he did before he passed, when he knew he was going to die, I was telling everybody earlier, get that audiobook from Audible. It takes about 26 hours, I think it is, to listen to the whole thing. But he doesn't pull any punches. He goes, yeah, I know I was mean-spirited and I treated people wrong, but he never apologizes. He goes, I just want to set the record straight before I leave this earth. So.
Interesting.
Yeah,
all right. Let's do this. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple, there's no credit card required. When you click that, it's going to be the registration page. Just fill out this form. Once you fill out this form, you will be sent a link to get into to get into the morning session for 5 consecutive business days, right? 5 consecutive business days.
That means you could sign up today. Your trial officially starts tomorrow and run all the way through next Friday, because holidays and weekends don't count against your 5-day trial.
That's right. Pete Best was the law speaker.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I guess I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
We need an app. You can either ask ChatGPT or you can ask Michael R.
That's it. Yeah, Michael R. app.
All right. So I'm taking it back.
Yes. Back your way.
And we've arrived. Okay. And there's that Artemis 2 launch tonight at, I think it's 6:24 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be the furthest we've ever sent man out into space. They're going to circle the moon and then come back. And they filed the SpaceX IPO paperwork this morning, which means it's got to be approved by all these different groups before they can actually do the IPO. So I went over the funds and different ways that people can invest pre-IPO. So if you missed that, when I sign off, just go to youtube.com/CFRN. You can watch today's broadcast in its entirety, and you can fast forward to the part where during the news I'm giving you the symbols of the funds. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell anything. I'm just telling you these are funds that give you exposure. Or you can buy shares in EchoStar because they own a ton of SpaceX. But those are like $112 a share.
All right.
Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 8 minutes and 5 trades to get to $1,575 with 10 contracts on.
Excellent job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I have covered everything in its entirety. So if you missed any part, now here's what my daily chart looks like on the ES. We've crept above that 38% reverse fib. And once we touch that baby, I suspect the pullback's going to hold. We haven't touched it since March 5th. So anyway, I covered every market in granular detail. Did silver ever hit the long target? It finally did. Okay. All right. So, and I've already explained how to become a member. Just email Valerie, support@cfrn.net, or call her at 949-42-EMINI. She will email you over all the info you need to make your decision, and she'll include a link that you can click. And like that, you're a passport holder. And I covered all the stuff that's included. So that leaves us with only one thing to do, and that's our good word for today. He's looking for laborers. Matthew 9:38. Pray the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. When Martin Luther began the work, I'm not talking about Martin Luther King, different guy. When Martin Luther began the work that became the Great Reformation, his friend Myconius said, I can best help where I am. I will remain and pray while you toil. Then one night Myconius dreamed that Jesus approached him and showed him his hands and feet, wounded by his crucifixion. He looked into the eyes of his Savior and heard Jesus say to him, follow me. Jesus led him to a mountaintop and pointed eastward. Myconius looked and saw a plain stretching away from the horizon. It was dotted with thousands and thousands of sheep, and one man was trying to shepherd the great flock. Myconius recognized him as his friend, Martin Luther. The Savior then pointed westward, and Myconius saw a great field of standing corn, with only one reaper trying to harvest it all. The lonely laborer was obviously exhausted, but he persisted. Myconius recognized the reaper to be his friend, Martin Luther. So when he awoke, he said, "It's not enough that I should just pray. The sheep must be shepherded, and the field of corn must be reaped. Here I am. Send me." He immediately sought out Luther and volunteered to serve in whatever capacity Luther desired. The Bible says, when Jesus saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest truly is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Matthew 9:36 through 38. The only prayer request Jesus ever made was for laborers to go into the harvest field. And he's calling you to be one of them. And that's our good word for today. Although, if I could speak to the author of this good word, I would point out that in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus was praying, and he did say, "Father, if there's any other way, if you can take this cup from my lips, please do, but not my will, your will be done." So, I don't want to split hairs with the author of this beautiful good word for the day. But you get the point. You know somebody in your family, your neighborhood, your place of work, your social group that just needs somebody to tell them about Jesus. One of the guys I serve with at CCV Levine here I actually live in Levine, but it's part of Phoenix. It's a suburb. Anyway, he's 70 years old, but he's only been a Christian for a year. And I said, "How is it that you went your whole life and only became a Christian at the age of 70? He said, "Dwayne, nobody ever asked me to." I go, "Well, I'm sure over 70 years, plenty of people have asked you to go to church." He said, "Nope." He goes, "My family weren't church-going people." And he goes, "I've lived a long life and I've worked in all kind of places, and no one ever asked me to go to church until I met this girl on a dating app. And on our first date, she invited me to go to CCV with her for the Sunday service. I accepted Christ, I got baptized, and a year later I'm standing here telling you this story." And I was like flabbergasted. So think about it. There's somebody in your sphere of influence that needs to know Jesus. The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So get busy. Thanks for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.